Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the East Windsor Regional School District. I hope everyone has braved this cold and everyone's staying well. Written advance notice of this meeting was provided at least 48 hours ago. Such notice provided the time, date, and location of this meeting and included the agenda to the extent it was known at the time. Notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with law. Minutes of this meeting are being kept by the board secretary and will be made available promptly to any member of the public requesting them from the board secretary at 25A Leshen Lane, Hightstown, New Jersey. Minutes will be provided at cost and in accordance with board policy. Are there any board members present who believe this meeting to be in violation of the Open Public Meeting Act? Okay. In compliance with the fire code of the state of New Jersey, I call your attention to the emergency exits for this room, which are located behind our audience and to the right and the left, or vice versa. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 1C.
Having read the materials received, I move the agenda be approved as submitted.
Poll the board, please.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Falco,
Yes.
Ms. Drake,
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso,
Yes.
Ms. Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Ms. Lands.
Yes. Item 1D.
Be it resolved that the East Windsor Regional School District may hold 2 closed sessions at this meeting. These closed sessions concern personnel, HIB report of February 9th, 2026, negotiations update, and superintendent contract extension. Minutes of these closed sessions will be made available to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Second.
Poll the board, please.
Mr. Falco,
Yes.
Ms. Drake,
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso,
Yes.
Ms. Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Ms. Lands.
Yes. We will now move on to our student representative report.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone has been staying warm in this cold weather. To start off, Black History Month is being recognized daily through the morning announcements, highlighting extremely important historical figures, events, contributions throughout the month. Students are having an amazing time, and they're loving the opportunity to learn more about Black American figures throughout history.
On February 3rd, the senior class got to hear about the exciting events that are taking place at the end of the year during the town hall meetings, while the younger classmen talked about the next year's classes and exciting events to follow the end of the year. Younger classmen have the ability to request the classes they would like to take for the 2026 to 2027 school year. Students are encouraged to pick their classes as quickly as possible so they can meet with their counselors to go over their next year's schedule. The senior class has been doing fundraisers to help cover the cost of end-of-year events like prom. Our biggest fundraiser being the Jersey Mike's fundraiser, where the class of 2026 raised over $1,000. We would like to thank everyone who came out and supported our class.
This weekend, the Hightstown Robotics team hosted Snow Day Showdown, an FTC robotics regional competition welcoming over 25 other teams to participate. Our very own FTC team did very well and dominated the competition, but got eliminated in the later rounds. Additionally, the FRC robotics program has also begun its build season, which means more and more students are staying late to work on the larger robot. For some upcoming events, the mid-year reports will be distributed by the end of the week, and parent-teacher conferences will take place next week, with families being able to schedule the meetings on Genesis.
The high school students are excited to introduce the upcoming freshman class to the high school by giving them tours and having our peer group connections outreach with them on the 10th and the 11th during school. And Wednesday evening is a chance for parents to explore the opportunities and activities students have access to at Hightstown High School, with the clubs having stands and mini presentations for parents.
In terms of sports, The girls' swim team advanced to the second round of the state tournament under the leadership of their new coach. Both boys and girls basketball teams are scheduled to begin their CVC tournament play tomorrow. The track program is having an outstanding season with multiple school records being set throughout the year, and a complete summary of all these records will be shared at the conclusion of the season. For any students interested in the spring sports, registration and forms are now available on Genesis.
Lastly, many members of our senior class are starting to make their decisions for post-secondary education. And many of our class, including myself and Danny, are still weighing our options for college. We would like to thank everyone for listening to our report. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful report. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, we'll move on to item 3, and I will turn it over to Mr. Daniels to kick off our student artist recognition.
Thank you, Ms. Lance. So good evening, everyone. It's always a pleasure when we have the opportunity to celebrate the most important people in our school district. That'll be our students. So tonight is a unique opportunity. We've been doing this for the past, probably it's our second year, where we've engaged our students to serve as the artists that feature their work, their artwork, their creative artwork on a district calendar that not only reflects each month of the year, but also has a cover, the back cover. So it just really serves as an opportunity kind of to showcase, one, obviously our student talent and creativity, but also it's an opportunity for us to remember the art educators, the very dedicated art educators who guide them and inspire them. So tonight, we're very proud to celebrate our students from kindergarten through 12th grade. And I'm going to turn things over to our Supervisor of Visual Performing Arts, Ms. Gopal.
Thank you. I am thrilled to celebrate our featured artists for being one of the 15 student artists selected for the East Windsor Regional School District 2026 Arts Calendar. The featured calendar artwork showcases the talent of the individual student and highlights the overall excellence of our art program here at the East Windsor Regional School District. So in order to honor this achievement of artistic excellence, we are going to individually call each student artist up and award them with a certificate of artistic achievement. So artists, as I call your name, please come up towards the podium to receive your award. And Mark, if we can have you up here as well. Sarah Naulugaura Mendoza. Tatiana Zubairu. Oh, not here, not here. Okay, not here. Lennon Draco Yates. Jimena Morales Gutierrez. Melody Wiener. Benjamin Pickett. Sadie Mead. Daphne Dachi. Congratulations. Anita Mong Kimbe. Alex Torres Mino. Congratulations. Quinn Hoxett. And that concludes our recognition portion of this event. Thank you.
All right. Congratulations once again, everybody. Thank you for sharing your art with us, and keep up your passion. Keep making art. I like to make art myself. I wouldn't call myself an artist, but I enjoy making creative things. So it's a really great thing to hold in your heart always. So congratulations again. For all the families, if you want to take 5 minutes and spend some time with your children, their artwork is displayed on our back bulletin board. And I also wanted to say I love the calendar. It's the first thing I look forward to the beginning of the year, to write out everything and putting our recycling and our trash and all the days off from school for my son on it. So thank you for giving that little gift to us. Okay, everybody, we're going to continue on. Next up will be item 4, our superintendent's report.
Okay, good evening again. Just want to congratulate our student artists. Definitely proud of your accomplishment. Continue to do that great work. And, you know, that calendar will live on forever. So I definitely cherish my calendar. So thank you again, and thank you to our art educators for the amazing work you do with our students. I'll begin tonight just by thanking our student representatives tonight. Thank you for your report, very comprehensive. Definitely appreciate having that student voice each month at our meetings. I'm going to stay in the theme of student recognition just very briefly. So I do want to just highlight a couple of things that I think it's important to reiterate. So last week, I'll start with last week. So I did have the opportunity to attend Dare to Dream Junior, the middle school musical. Happened to attend on opening night. Just want to commend the cast and crew, very engaging, energetic, enthusiastic cast. I was impressed by the number of students who were participating throughout the production. So kudos to the directors there for not only the singing, but also the choreography that I know could be challenging. So great performance. Also last week had the opportunity to attend the 8th grade in high school. Each year we do kind of a collaboration between the 8th grade band and the high school band / wind ensemble, jazz band. So part of it is obviously the opportunity to kind of highlight the connection between the middle school and the high school as students are transitioning, but it's also an opportunity to sell the program to some degree as students are kind of planning ahead as they're looking to transition from the middle school to the high school. So the performances were just amazing. Really appreciate the level of collaboration between the middle school music educators and obviously our high school music teachers, but the quality of student performances, as usual, was at a really high caliber, so definitely appreciated that evening. A couple of things in terms of student recognition related to our high school thespian society. So they attended the New Jersey Thespian Festival a couple of weeks ago. We had 2 students who I'd like to congratulate who are ranked superior and will be competing on the national level. That'll be senior Lainey Kenwood for musical solo and junior Gideon Hezroni for playwriting. So congratulations to those students. At the middle school level, a couple of recognition components related to the arts as well. So we had each year, you know, teachers can kind of nominate students to be a part of some region competition. So this year, we've had 4 students at the middle school level who competed and were selected to be a part of All-State Choir. Those students are Maribel Guyot, Madeline Haston, Hargun Sembi, and Farah Shack from MHK. So definitely want to commend those students. They're competing with students across the state. Also, we had a 6th grade student who auditioned for the Central Jersey Music Educators Association Intermediate Region Band. Over 700 students auditioned. We had Octavio Constantino from CREPS who successfully auditioned and was accepted into the symphonic band, which is very, very rare. So huge accomplishment to him. And once again, just an opportunity to celebrate our music educators for their work in terms of nurturing our student talent. Next month, I think you took something out of my report here, sorry. I think you pulled something out, but sorry. Next month, we have the opportunity, February 23rd, actually later this month, let me correct that. Later this month, at the February 23rd Board of Education meeting, we will be recognizing, celebrating the Governor Educator of the Year recipients for this year. We've been talking about those folks, two professionals representing each of our schools. So that evening, we'll have the opportunity to celebrate them in person. Hopefully they'll bring their family and friends, and we'll have the opportunity to kind of recognize and highlight their accomplishment, which is no small feat. As I've shared before, those individuals are eligible to be considered to be the county educator of the year. So I've had several members reach out to me asking for that next level. So definitely wishing them all the best as they move forward, and also just really have the opportunity to have their the work they do just kind of recognized outside of our school district. I think it's something that is worthy, and a sense of pride there. So February 23rd, we'll be here celebrating our educators for the Governor's Educator of the Year recognition for this year. In terms of another student update, I forgot to mention. So for the National Girls and Women's Day, the National Girls and Women in Sports Day, let me correct that, which is usually the first Wednesday of February each year, which I think was February 4th. Just want to commend one of our students here for her excellence on and off the field, and that is Samantha Ake from Hightstown High School. So she was selected by the Athletic Leadership Council, which is comprised of coaches and other staff members within the high school. A lot of it came down to her dedication. She's a 3-sport athlete, tennis, swimming, lacrosse, all 4 years at Hightstown High School. Not only is she connected to athletics, she's also playing the saxophone in the wind ensemble, the jazz pit, rock bands, and she's also a member of the Ecology and Outdoor Club. So just want to commend Samantha for her accomplishment. Connected to, at our last meeting, there was a conversation that we had regarding public comment related to high school arrival. And specifically, it was connected to a process that we've adopted in recent years where we have 2 buses that take our students to Mercer County Technical Schools in the morning. And they're kind of situated, they are situated on Leshen Lane, related in close proximity to where we have our parent drop-off. The concern that was presented was related to the buses that are bringing students to school as a convenience. We're stopping in the area by the tennis courts to allow those students who needed to get off of the bus that brings them to Hightstown High School and then transition to the VOTEC, we just use that terminology, to the VOTEC buses. So the timing of when those buses were stopping and allowing students to exit was creating just some congestion as it relates to those parents who were dropping off and then looking to exit. So we shifted the location after reviewing it. We changed the location of where those buses are now situated in the morning. So they're at the front end, I guess, or the back end of Leshen Lane. So instead of being dropped off by the tennis courts, those students remain on their buses like all the other students that are taking a bus to school, and they exit at the main entrance to the high school and just walk over to those 2 buses. In addition to that, and just reviewing that drop-off area, it's pretty obvious to us that the time of the year is contributing to the increase in cars. Obviously it's very cold outside, so more families have been opting to drive their children to school, which is completely understandable. And that's actually across all of our schools. But specifically with the high school, just because it's our largest school in the district. In reviewing that parent drop-off area, in addition to shifting the process for the VOTEC buses in the morning, we also noticed that there's a small staff parking lot in close proximity to the Leshen Lane drop-off area that some families have opted to kind of cut through as a shortcut when they come off of Leshen Lane via Main Street. So we're going to make some adjustments to that to not allow that to be a cut through, because it kind of creates a little bit of some parallel traffic and some people needing to yield to let folks in. In addition to that, it can create a circumstance where when a parent actually kind of cuts through there, they may or may not make it over to the curb to drop their child off, which we think is a safety concern. So in working with the high school administration, I know there was a communication that was sent home today, just kind of reminding folks in terms of, one, some of the adjustments that we're making. Specifically, it will be kind of creating a more consistent flow of traffic to drop students off curbside on Leshen Lane. And one major difference will also be needing families to pull all the way to the corner So where the buses used to be, those two VOTEC buses, we're expecting students with their families, obviously, to pull up to that stop sign, curbside, to have students exit at that point. We think it will create a longer flow for the drop-off lane, and hopefully minimize or mitigate just some of the congestion that will occur at that time of the day. The other piece that we've done in terms of trying to manage the AM flow is that we have asked the Hightstown Police Department to provide some assistance. You know, Leshian Lane is an interesting piece of road. Although it appears to be part of our campus, it's technically a Hightstown Borough street, so we don't have jurisdiction over Leshian Lane. That would be provided by the police department. So by the digital sign, as you come off of Westerly, we know that's a very busy place, whether students and families are coming into the campus or folks are looking to exit. And we've got some stop signs that we need people to adhere to. And obviously, we would prefer it, and we do not want to have people parking or yielding or pausing in that curb area by the digital sign. So we've asked our police department to provide some support there to keep the flow of traffic moving, but also to ensure that people are adhering to some traffic safety. We have a crosswalk in that area. We want to make sure that as students are coming from Westerly across to our campus, they can do so safely. So there's a number of things that we are working through to improve the situation. One thing I'll say is that this high school, one of the realities is that we currently only have really two ways to get in and out of this high school. And unfortunately, they are residential streets. So at one point, we had talked about exploring the possibility of, currently we have a connecting driveway from the high school to kind of our maintenance department transportation area. So as a consideration, is something we may look at exploring to see if there's an option there for us to create either another entranceway or at least another exit way. Right now, our buses use it. But in terms of where we currently are, a school that has 1,600 students, unfortunately, we have Westerly and Leshian as our entry and exit points. And those are not the widest roads. And it's just a reality of where we are. So we're asking folks during the arrival time, if you arrive around 7:25, that is a hot time. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be frustrated if you pull it in thinking that you're going to just, comfortably drop your child off or comfortably park. So I would say, give yourself some adequate time if you are dropping off in the morning so you're not enhancing your level of frustration, because that is the, 7:20 to about 7:28. We've been monitoring that, and that is a very busy time as it relates to vehicular traffic here at the high school. So I would ask folks just to use some caution and try to provide yourself with some time to comfortably get in and out in the morning. Last item today.
Mark, can I ask a question about before you get off the high school drop-off pickup?
Can you just, sure, go for it.
Have you talked
I wanted to finish my spiel first.
I know,
Sure,
but
go
then
for
you're
it.
going to get off the high
It's
school.
okay. I'm with you, go ahead.
It'll flow. I know we had talked about it, I had brought it up previously. If the other problem is leaving Leshian, have you talked maybe to Hightstown Borough about either putting a policeman at the top of Leshian to help with the people making a left? Because it's really bad. And it's even bad, it's worse when there's snow because you can't see. And the left, as you know, it backs all the way up past the tennis courts because people can't make the left because there's the other traffic coming in. So maybe if somebody was standing there between like 7:10 and 7:20 or something, if we can't make it so you can't turn left, maybe if someone was helping to direct the traffic, because there's going to be an accident.
Well, I'm in communication with the police department, so that's one of the things we're looking at to determine how we can assist with that. So So that's my answer right now, right? There's a host of different things. We're trying to figure out like what we think is most problematic, but that is definitely one of the things that we were looking at to see how we can increase that flow. And part of the issue is, this is all of like a 4-minute issue. It's like, things are really problematic for like 4 minutes, and then it kind of dissipates. But yes, it's also really problematic when you're trying to exit via Westerly to Great Run. I know some people cut through Springcrest to get out onto Main Street, but we are having some congestion as it relates, just the volume, right? So, but your point is well taken, and been, in communication with the chief to see what can we do to lighten. I think a lot of the issue is related, not to say all of it, but we do realize, and you mentioned snow, that hasn't helped either in terms of just mounds of snow, which sometimes is hindering visibility as well. So we do realize that this is in large part due to the weather, but we know it's not the only thing. So, point well taken. Anything else on that? In closing today, I'm going to just talk briefly, and I'm going to transition over to Paul just to provide some detail. We were supposed to have a Finance Committee meeting today, and we were going to address this with the Finance Committee. But as you know, it's budget season. We've been preparing for the budget probably for the past 2 to 4 months. We have a new governor in place, so the governor's address that typically would occur around February 27th has been pushed to March 10th. Usually state aid is then released about 2 days after that. So we've been kind of in the process of being prudent and somewhat responsible, very responsible in terms of just trying to anticipate what we believe state aid may reveal, and then trying to make sure that we can plan accordingly to ensure that we can keep our organization in a way that we think is fiscally sound, and we can continue to build our educational program. So with that, I'll turn things over to Paul Todd, who provides some details regarding where we're going.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. I'll be referring to the page I handed out on the table for everyone to review. First is a side-by-side, a high-level kind of where the money is coming from on the revenue side. If you remember, when we do our budget adoption, I have the big ledger size paper with 5 years of expenditures and revenue, so that is still coming. Don't worry, this isn't all the information you're going to get. So right now on the revenue side, you'll see the budgeted fund balance is $800,000 for this year. Last year was 6.9. Mostly that is from one-time revenues being injected for capital projects. So we'll be talking a little more about that later on in the sheet. As things have been going on, the excess funds that we had that we were reinvesting back into our capital projects is just drying up as our budgets have been getting tighter and tighter, and that's just kind of the trend moving forward. So we'll be talking a little bit more about the reduction in projects that will be pursued next year. Right now, the levy stands at $76.9 million for $73.4 million. That is a 4.8% increase. Last year, we were at 2.7%. And for about the 5 years before that, when we were getting the nice state aid increases, we were below 2% at 1.9%. But I have some information to share with you, kind of where we stand in regards to the rest of the county. The local sources, that's kind of where we have the Roosevelt tuition, facility rentals, kid care, receipts come into there. That is pretty steady. The only difference is an increase of $120,000 through E-rate. E-rate's a federal program that funds technology. And then state sources, this is really kind of the big question mark. At this time, we're budgeting flat state aid at $48.7 million. If you remember, over the past 2 years, we collectively lost $3 million just because of the way the funding formula is with the increase in salaries in the community and also property values, which the state uses to determine the district's ability to pay. As I say every year, they tell us what we already know. Living in East Windsor Heights town is really good, and people are prosperous and things are going well. And the state translates that to, well, you don't need as much state aid as you used to. Unfortunately, that's the way they look at it right now. All right, so moving over in the notes, which is kind of more on the expense side of things. Our salary load for next year is about $2.6 million. Just keep in mind our regular 2% levy increase is $1.4 million. 2% of our levy is $1.4 million. So our salary load is $2.6 million for next year. One of the things that we haven't talked about in the past few years is health benefits. That's been pretty quiet, but it's finally caught up to us. And every time you open the newspaper, you just hear about the spiraling costs of health benefits. And now we're kind of like everyone else. So this year's budget will have an increase of $3 million to our health benefit budget, which we have not seen in quite a long period of time. So when I say health benefits, I'm talking really medical and prescription, not dental and vision, because they're not significant parts of that budget. So that is an 18% increase in health benefits. So if you've been reading the paper, that is on the lower end of things. It's not uncommon to see 20, 25%. You can see the state on their prescription side of renewal was close to 60%. So that is, yeah, the state health benefits is somewhere around 30 to 38%. And just to kind of, this is very eye-opening. If you were to go back to 2018, our paid claims for prescription and medical was $10 million, just a nudge over $10 million. Last year, it was close to $20 million. Now, I'm an accountant, so I have to be proper, and I'm going to tell you that's a 97% increase. But for conversational sake, let's just call it what it is, 100% increase in 7 years. If you were to compare that to our salary increases over that same period of time, considering an average of 3 to 3.5% a year, that's going to give you a 21 to 24% increase over the same period of time. I can just tell you right now that kind of growth is not sustainable, and it will bring down most of the state. Not just us, it'll bring down pretty much the state. As far as staffing goes right now, we do not have any changes in the total FTE count. Obviously, every year people get moved around to different positions, but as of right now, there are no increases or decreases, and we have about 910 individuals employed by the school district funded by our general fund. One of the things BAs always like to point as far as cost increases is our special education tuition for outside placements. And I don't think you've really heard me say anything over the past 6 or 7 years. David Rowe and his team do an excellent job of finding very reasonable appointments for our students that meet their needs. And actually, tuition for special education is down $280,000 year over year. So kudos to Mr. Rowe and his team. That's not an easy feat. As we were putting our budget together and we saw that some of our increases are a little more than we like, talking with Mr. Daniels and the administrative team, all schools and departments have made a 15% reduction in discretionary funds. So what does that mean? That means if you have a piece of software that we need, that we use every year, that wasn't taken into consideration. So we're talking about general supplies. We're talking about the things that we like to have. We talk about the buildings and grounds team with some of the maintenance stuff that we do. So some of the big decreases, two of the largest was our curriculum department, which was $500,000, and then our buildings and grounds reduction was about $350,000. So just keep in mind, 1% of our levy is about $740,000. So just those two decreases alone reduced our levy by 1%. One of the few departments that actually maintain their budget, and there's a slight increase of about $500,000, is our technology department. So we're still making a commitment to our technology needs. We're still rewiring our schools as we have in the past couple summers. We will be renewing our Chromebook fleet at 3rd, 6th, 9th grades, and we will also be renewing our iPad lease program for the K-2 program. So that's still going to be maintained. So we're very proud of that. Go ahead. Do you want to mention that, or okay? Yeah. These don't go through E-rate though. Yeah. Right. So what Mark is talking about is E-rate, and that is a federal subsidized program for technology needs. So like the wiring of the schools, for example, we'll get 40% aid from the federal government for those kind of things. So that is led by Ray Nessie, our technology coordinator. He does an excellent job with our third-party consultant to maximize those funds. We're going to continue with our expansion of our emergency notification system, which is right above us here. It's part of the new system that we put here in the high school. And also know if you've been around the district for any period of time, there is a black hole for cell service that we call PLD. You go in there and you just cannot get any cell phone service. So we're going to be looking for cell phone extenders at PLD. So we're very excited for that. And also MHK. All right, so let's talk about our dwindling facility projects. As you know, the board approved an two SDA ROD programs here for the high school that will be happening this summer. So that leaves about $8 million remaining of that ROD grant. That will be happening not this coming summer, but the summer of '27. And that will be the front original part, the two-story part of the high school. We have about $8 million to put to that, and that'll probably absorb the rest of that ROD program. You know, we've been talking, we took an $8 million loan, what they call a lease purchase, which you pay back over 5 years. We have about $2 million of that money left. We will be taking that and seeing what else we can do. We have still some sizable core areas like the high school cafeteria and the library that need updating. So we're going to use those funds and try to get that. And I would say between the ROD grant and the LP, we'll probably have 90% of the high school done. There'll still be some pockets that we're going to try to have to find the funds to completely refit the high school HVAC system, but we'll get there. We have 14, as of right now, after this audit is complete and we make the contribution, we'll have $14 million in our capital reserve. That's for facility projects. However, $8 million of that has already been pledged as the district share for that ROD grant. So after you take that into consideration, we'll have $6 million in addition to $2 million in maintenance reserves. So after we do those two projects, we really have two bundles of money left to handle all future needs. $6 million in capital reserve and $2 million in maintenance reserve. So we're going to have to start getting creative on how we fund our needs and repairs, because the money will just not be coming in like it has in years past from leftover funds from our budget that we were repurposing for capital projects. In next year's budget is our final lease purchase payment that I just talked about for $1.6 million. I just don't see, as of right now, how we're going to be able to renew that and continue that. So we will be losing that funding, moving forward. But next year, we will have that last of the 5-year payments of $1.6 million. So let's talk a minute about the tax levy cap, because I think sometimes it's misunderstood and people overly summarize it because they say the tax levy increase is 2%. That's the base adjustment. That is not the complete adjustment that you get for a tax levy. And that's how, when you see a school district, like I mentioned, we're at 4.8%, that's how we get to that, because there's other components to that tax levy adjustment. So the first piece, the base adjustment, is 2%. So our 2% is $1,469,000. That's what that represents. We get adjustments, or all school districts get adjustments if you have an increase in enrollments. Our enrollment's been very flat for a very long time. It meanders a little bit, but pretty much it stays around 5,000 plus or minus 100 students. So right now we do not have any adjustment forecasted for enrollment. The next adjustment, and when you see everyone with their increases, this is really where the increases are coming from. You get a full adjustment for any increase to your health care benefits. Right now, we would, because we put in $3 million, we would qualify for $3 million, but because of the way other reductions in the budget have gone, we only need about $1.1 million of that $3 million. Now, what will happen with that extra money in the last area here is called bank cap. So if there's anything left from the first three things that I mentioned, that money gets saved for future budgets, and you get to save it for up to 3 years. So out of that $3 million, that 1.9 that we're not using, that should be able to move over to bank cap for future years. In this budget, we're going to be using $1 million of previous bank cap. That's all we have in there, and we will be using it. So those are the four main components of what a tax levy cap looks like. Now, these are just preliminary numbers, but I was talking to my county colleagues last week. I'll read it out loud for the members of the public and also for anyone at home who is watching on YouTube. Right now, Princeton is the lowest in the county at 4.5%, so clearly not 2%. The lowest in the county right now is 4.5%. Lawrence at 4.8, East Windsor at 4.8, so we're right there among the lowest. West Windsor's at 5, Ewing at 6%, Hopewell is at 6% and growing. Hamilton is just a tinge right below 8%. And our poor colleagues next door at Robbinsville at 9%. And how they're doing is they're basically going through a referendum. They have exceeded all of their levy adjustments, so they exceeded their 2%, their enrollment, their health care adjustment, and also they've used all their bank cap. And what the funding law says that if you need to extend your levy above those adjustments, you basically have to go out for a referendum, an old-style vote. So they're going to be having a vote coming up in early March. And if you want to just go to their website, you can just see they put a nice package together. And I just like looking at other districts and how they communicate their budget needs. And they've done an excellent job documenting their needs. But they're at 9%. So those tax increases are going from 4.5 to 9. We're definitely among the lowest in the county, which I think is something to be proud of. I know the administrative team has worked hard and have, sharpened their pencils to bring the increase down to that level. So that is coming at some sacrifice within the district. Moving forward, the government budget address, which is usually the fourth Tuesday of the month, which would have been February 24th. And it's common practice when you're an incoming new governor, they usually give you a couple weeks to get a little extra time for that budget presentation. So it's being moved back 2 weeks. That will now occur on March 10th. State aid will be released 2 days later on the 12th. That's unfortunate because if we had our old February 24th release, we would be heading our March 9th date for our public adoption, preliminary adoption, but we're going to miss that by a day. So it looks like our March 23rd will be the preliminary adoption. And that is my update on the budget.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Any questions on what Paul shared?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. Paul, once they have the budget meeting on the 12th, will the number change for what we get for the state aid, or the number that you have, I think we just blocked in 48 right now, would that increase or decrease, or would that also change our rate as well?
That definitely could change. So yes, absolutely. So if there's a couple ways state aid could be reduced. Number one is that the governor, because if you're reading the newspaper, the state has their own budget problems. They have built up over the years, especially because of COVID funding, a decent fund balance. Right now, that's projected to run out in a couple years. So we're very interested to see how the governor is going to jump off previous Governor Murphy's, commitment to the schools and the increases and how they're going to try to maintain that. So we're waiting breathlessly to see what that state aid number looks like. So so it's the level of funding could affect that, and also there's the funding formula where they could put in the same amount of money as the prior year. Mm-hmm. We could still lose state aid if that if the property values increase like they have over the past few years, and if the income levels increase, we could lose funding that way, even though the governor puts in the same amount of money.
Thank you. Second thing, we're doing the remaining extension for the second section of Icetown, and we're going to be using up the $8 million. What exactly are we doing for that second story?
So what we received the $14 million ROD grant, which mm-hmm. is regular operating district. That's how they fund capital projects within, what they used to call the Abbott school districts, which were the 30 of the lower economically disadvantaged communities. So for the people who weren't Abbott districts, you received the ROD grant. And that's how the state made their commitment to help fund facility projects. So we submitted a couple years ago for HVAC upgrades here at the high school.
So that's what we'll finish up.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
I have a question about the health benefit increase. Does any of that increase get passed on to the employees and what they pay for their benefits, or is that all covered from on the back where it talks about the adjustment for health benefits? Or does the district take up that difference, or?
Yeah, so there's two groups of, and it's based on, after the number of the law that was passed, so there's something called Chapter 78, which was the 78th law passed in that year of the session of the Congress. And basically, Chapter 78 contribution, people contributed a % of the premium based on your salary. So obviously, the more money you make, the more you contribute. That was in place for 6, 7 years to help give some of the staff members some relief from that. They then passed Chapter 44, which is a new set of plans. So anytime you switch to a new district or you came into a new school district for a first-time employee, you went into a Chapter 44 plan. Chapter 44, you pay a % of your salary, no longer a % of the premium of the plan. So the people who are in Chapter 78, they will definitely feel that. They'll have an approximately 18% increase in their contribution. The Chapter 44s will not.
Okay.
And just to give you some more information, I wanted to talk a little bit about our prescription plan, because that is one of the areas that is really blowing up on us. And it's not a surprise that GLP-1s are becoming a large % of our medical spend. Right now, we have about 150 members across the entire district who currently are taking a GLP-1 of some sort. Not necessarily a staff member, it could be someone in their household, but basically 150 plans or someone has someone on a GLP-1. About 50 of those are for diabetes, for either type 1 or type 2 diabetes. However, the majority of our GLP-1 use in the district are for staff members who take it for weight loss only, and that is a pretty big number. Right now, we're spending about $1 million on those 100 people who are taking GLP-1s for weight loss only. And that is only going to grow as now GLP-1s are moving from the injection to the pills. Just to give you a sense of what that means, I told you a little earlier that our paid claims last year was $19.7 million. Of that, about $4.7 million was spent on prescriptions. So of that, let's call it $5 million, $1 million, or 20% of our prescriptions, are now going to GLP-1s for weight loss only. I'm not sure that's, to my earlier comment, I'm not sure that is just that kind of growth is sustainable moving forward.
So one addition, we will, subsequent to the March 12th state aid and the March 10th governor's address, we are preparing to engage in a budget presentation during I think it's the March 23rd meeting. So in more detail in following up what we shared this evening.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I forgot to ask one question. Regarding the reduction of the curriculum department of the 500, you said it's stuff we don't need. What exactly does that pertain? Is it something academically? Is it something that our kids need, or what exactly are we not providing?
I don't think I said it's stuff we don't need, because everything that we do here is for the kids. Everything that we do and is for the direct benefit of the kids. So I think what happens is you see, I'll just take it's a little more easier to understand, nuts and bolts. So I'll just talk about buildings and grounds. When something is broken, when you're pretty flush with your budget, you address it right away. But what you find is that as time goes on and you start reducing your budget, you're not sure when that next big repair break is going to happen. So the things that you would jump on and you fix get deferred maintenance. Well, we're going to have to wait to see if we have money to fix it. So things that were nice, that it was shiny and bright, now we're going to start looking a little lackluster because you're holding on to that money because you're waiting for the HVAC to break or for a boiler to go down. So it becomes more layers of needs, right? There's some stuff that you really like and the kids really like and they really enjoy. The question is, how long can you hold on to that stuff as you start reducing your budget? So there's like a core level of needs that you will always need. So right now, and then there's just, add-ons from there. So we're kind of going through that process. It's like peeling an onion, where you just have to make some value decisions, and they're never easy. But yeah, everything is needed and everything goes to the kids, so it's just a slow whittling down.
Thank you.
Anyone else with questions? Okay. Mark, did you have anything else? You good? Okay. We will now move on to item 5, our first opportunity for board member comments. Michael?
I had the pleasure of being at a bunch of different events in the district last week, from the joint middle school, high school concert for band, and and 2 of the performances of the play, and like absolutely again reaffirmed just how absolutely how rejuvenating it is to see all the kids, and, and tonight being another fun capstone of how great the arts are at giving everybody an opportunity to do group activities and have some individual recognition, and it's good to see.
I agree. I was very happy to be able to take in the concert last week. I missed the play, unfortunately. I try and make all the events, but sometimes it can't happen. But always impressive, always impressive. Any other board member comments? Nope. Okay, we'll move on to our first opportunity for public comment. Any members of the public wish to speak? Okay. There being none, we will move on to our first executive session. No, in 20 minutes. Okay, everybody, welcome back. We'll now move on to item 7, old business. We have our committee meetings listed there. There were some changes listed to the, made to the committees. The folks who have moved in or out of committees have been contacted. So if there's any additional changes someone was looking forward to, please let me know. I do think there is one opening still available on Finance Committee if anyone's interested. Okay, we'll now move on to item 8, second opportunity for board member comments. Okay, there being none, we'll move on to item 8B, our second opportunity for public comments. There being none, we'll move on to item 9.
Motion to approve routine items by exception. Having read the materials received, I move that the board approve the routine agenda items as submitted. Item A, staffing for 2/9/2026. Item B, HIB report from January 26th, 2026. Item C, out-of-district placement. Item D, approve HHS overnight DECA trip to Atlantic City, New Jersey for March 2026. Item E, approve HHS overnight FBLA field trip, Atlantic City, New Jersey, March 2026. Item F, approve ESEA reallocation of Title III funding, full year 2025 to 2026. Item G, approve new field trip sites for upcoming trips. Item H, technology recycling batch number 67. Item I, approve HHS and MHK spring sports schedules 2026. Item J, approve travel and related expenses. Item K, acceptance of donation from Dr. Redlick. Item L, surplus property disposal, WCB. Item M, transportation. Item N, regular and executive board meeting minutes. Item O, report of the board secretary and financial report for December 2025. Item P, expense and transfer reports of school monies report for December 2025. And item Q, bill list of February 9th, 2026.
Second.
Any questions? Poll the board, please.
Mr. Falco,
Yes.
Ms. Drake,
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso,
Yes.
Ms. Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Ms. Lands.
Yes. This evening, we do have a need for our item 10, second executive session. The board will adjourn to that. We do not have any items to be voted upon, so we will close the meeting as soon as we're finished. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening, and be safe and stay warm.
Can you just text me when you're done second? Time-wise? I'm not in. Oh, you're not going in?